Welcome back to Investing and Trading Live, sponsored by Trading Academy. Once again, I am your host, Josh Lilquist, talking about the do's and the don'ts of the financial markets, how they work, how to make smart investing decisions within those retirement accounts or trading accounts, those retail trading accounts, whether you're trading stocks, options, futures, Forex. For whatever that soup du jour is, we have strategies and techniques on how to make those smart decisions. With that, we have free trading and investing classes where I'm giving away seats to. Matter of fact, we had a lot of people texting in on the last segment for those seats for that free trading and investing class. If you're driving, you might want to pull over. But to come into one of these investing classes, text the word investing to the number 210-210. It's very simple. Text investing to the number 210-210 for 2 seats for a free trading and investing class. That's one for you and one for a friend. Text investing to 210-210 or go to tradingacademy.com and you can pick your own seats there. Also, we appreciate our followers and subscribers on the podcast. You can just go to Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or Spotify and just search Investing and Trading Live and catch the outtakes of the show. If you did miss part of this show, with Al, in that last segment, when we were talking about those income strategies and the retirement strategies, those 2 components over the last couple segments, we had a lot of listeners probably thinking about, okay, how do I do that? Like, how do I take control of my 401k or an IRA? Or how do I have a job and still have an income strategy with the financial markets? And as we know, markets have 24-hour markets. The stock market is not. It's open 6.5 hours a day. With that, the futures market and the Forex market are 24-hour markets. So that gives the opportunity for the retail investor, the public, to have strategies outside of their job. Now, with this segment here, I want to elaborate a little bit more on that time expectation. And that's kind of a slippery slope, Al. We got to be very careful with how we explain that because as we know, just to talk about it real quick, it takes time to learn a skill. But in trading and investing, you actually dictate your time once you've learned that skill. Because a lot of people think that you got to be glued to your computer screen, you got to be trading every single day, all day long, which is totally the wrong thing to do because all you do is create emotions. And you almost have to think logically here.
That's actually the worst thing you can do.
It is, yeah. So I want you to explain that expectation and how you actually dictate that time when you're trading or investing.
Well, it starts with finding the right time for you. Everybody's a little bit different as to how they trade, what they need out of the markets, what they want to get out of the markets. And one of the things we do is put together a plan that's specific to each person. But being able to trade assets that are available 24 hours a day gives you the opportunity to kind of choose, not only choose when you want to do it, but over time, you'll probably find there are certain times that work better for you, where you are actually more successful than other times. And that's why it's so important to keep a record of what you do, how you do, the times that you trade, all the details of it. So those are all parts of things that we teach. I think the number one thing, though, Josh, is getting people in to understand what's available to them, why there are differences, why is there a different way to approach the markets for income, why is there a different way for wealth, and why to be good at both and have the greatest opportunity, the greatest potential, you need to understand those differences. And when you go into retirement, a lot of people are going into retirement assuming that they were in great shape and that they would be able to make it through their retirement years, not really taking into consideration the fact that the market isn't going to go up every year. We're going to have pullbacks. Again, you need to be protected. We've talked about that. We've talked about how to generate income off of your retirement accounts instead of just relying on let's say, a bucket of money that you're going to use in retirement that you keep drawing down from, because pretty soon that pile, that bucket can be empty, but the number of years left in your living bucket are still full.
So how does that look, though, with that time expectation? Like, how do you allocate your time properly and dictate that time when you're doing it?
Well, again, it gets down to your plan. What's the best time for you to trade? How often should you trade? Maybe some people want to do this every day. Some people might only want to do it once or twice a week or once or twice a month.
So there's a strategy. Say someone has a job and they want to be able to have the opportunity to grow their retirement account at the rates that they need it. And there's strategies, obviously, that are for that.
Right.
They choose how that works then?
Yeah, there is not, nobody hands you a schedule and says this is how you have to trade. This is when you have to trade. It becomes a personal thing. There is a path that's probably the best path for one person that might not be the best path for anybody else. So that you have to identify that. You have to identify, where you are, where you want to be financially, what's going to make you feel comfortable and secure in your financial years that you have left. And then how do you make sure that you're able to do that?
So you choose that, and I know you've helped a lot of people do that. So let's give an example. Let's say you have a person that works the regular 9 to 5.
Sure.
And maybe they have a lunch break, an hour long or something. What are some of the opportunities that you say might be a possibility as far as timing and they want to manage their retirement account?
Yeah, well, it doesn't take long to, if you know the right strategy, if you're using a strategy, a process, ours is called a core strategy. It's a step-by-step process, a 6-step process. It really cuts down on the amount of time that is required to put a position together. So this is something that if you're spending hours and hours a day doing this, you're putting too much time into it. And you're letting your emotions get involved.
So So let's say they do that. They say they do their process. They get into an investment. Say it's an option, right? Because that's what a lot of people, quite frankly, want to learn is how to do options. Then retirement account. That's usually a great opportunity there.
Right.
Are they required to watch it or look at it every single day?
No, and as I mentioned before, that's probably the worst thing you can do. You have to control your emotions, and every professional trader will tell you that they have a process, a set of rules they follow that keeps as much as possible their emotions out of the equation.
So how do you do that then?
Then you have to have a rules-based process that you follow, a step-by-step process that is designed to, whatever you're looking at investing or trading, get you to the point where you can identify the most accurate price to get into a position that gives you the odds of being successful. You should be able to do that, in a few minutes if you know how to use the strategy properly, and then you can identify what you're looking for are basically unfilled orders. Because what moves the price of something?
Well, to make it simple, you're looking for either supply or demand.
Exactly. And there's an area of supply, which are sell orders, and there's an area of supply, which are buy orders.
So that area you're talking about, so you mentioned find the best price. It doesn't have to be specific then.
No,
it can
it's
be an
within
area.
a range.
Okay.
It's within a range. Nobody's going to be specific down to the penny.
So that's a great point. So you don't need to be exact on pricing. It's just an area of interest, and then how do you protect that?
Yeah, you protect it by maybe using a stop loss, and that's one way of doing it. You protect it by possibly using an option as an insurance policy. There's an option strategy you can use. You also protect your assets by having the proper position size for you. They're all components of risk management that we teach people.
Yep.
Because nobody is going to be right all the time.
Yep.
So you have to make sure if you're not right, that the impact to you is very minimal. And then if you're right, you want the impact to be fantastic. You want it to be great. So you have to be able to identify not only when to get out of a position if you're wrong, but when to get out if you're right, so you protect your profit.
Let's start a new trend here. If you're looking to have that impact to be fantastic,
Okay.
how's that sound?
All right.
I like that. And how you do that is have a step-by-step process. That's exactly what Al is explaining here. Having a step-by-step process for your investments. That way you dictate your time, you dictate your schedule, you also dictate your capital. So that way you can do that safely and confidently when you get into these markets, especially in those retirement accounts. The great thing about that, there's no difference in your trading accounts. You still have a process. It's a couple steps, right. And then you do your time the same way. It's so what you see in movies essentially is not really how it is. And what you hear out there might be a little bit differently than how the institutions are doing it. And that's what we train and teach here at the Academy, is having a strategy that mirrors those institutions, the banks, because we know they move the market. It takes the big money to do that. Once you understand who moves the market, we need to trade like them. And we need to have strategies like them as well. The great thing about the markets is the strategies that are out there, it's all available to us. You just haven't been taught yet. Think about anything we do in everyday life. Thinking about, riding a bike. It's a skill that you got to have. But if you don't know, or let's call it swimming. Some people actually don't know how to swim now. Do you know that? And if you haven't been taught how to swim, it's going to be very difficult.
It's a very sinking feeling.
A very sinking feeling is a good way to put that. And it's not fantastic, we'll say. So once you have a process of how to swim, it's a couple steps. You kick your feet, you paddle your arms, and then you learn how to float. Same thing. And that same thing goes to the financial markets. And we have a lot of people that want to learn that process, how to have a step-by-step process to get in the markets and do that confidently. We talk about that process in these free trading and investing classes that I'm going to give away one last set of seats for that. So text the word investing to the number 210-210 for 2 seats for a free trading and investing class to learn those steps on how to trade or invest. Al, we've had a lot of good discussion here today. It's been fantastic. Let's hear today's OTA, tip of the week.
You know, I think for a lot of people, their thinking, their mindset is that they are where they're meant to be. That's their destiny, and then they never venture beyond those thoughts. And they have a tendency to surround themselves with friends that are even less successful than they are. What's the only difference between those that live ordinary lives and those that live beyond their circumstances and create something far more rewarding for themselves? It's not because of superior talents or wisdom. It's because they've discovered that they alone are responsible for giving their life satisfaction, and then they take action. Successful people don't let what's happened in the past hold them back.
I like that. That action is getting started and doing that today. Text the word investing for a free trading and investing class to get started down that path, to learn those steps of investing and trading. As always, same time, same place next week. Invest differently, smarter, and skillfully. Retire young, my friends.